Traitor Thomas laid bare Meg lies in podcast as denying his allowance. Bite the hand that feeds you. Meghan Markle had a surprise guest on her latest podcast, her mum, Doria Ragland. On the latest episode of her Archetypes podcast released Tuesday, the Duchess of Sussex spoke with Sophie Trudeau, Pamela Adlon and Sam Jay about being a good mother and wife. She said that despite the inevitable stress, being a wife and mother a role she has long wanted to fill, while honing in on good mum, bad mum, and good wife, bad wife archetypes, the theme of this week's episode. Markle shared that she found the depictions of wives on shows like The Jetsons and The Flintstones aspirational as a young girl, and even saved up her allowance to buy a real diaper bag for her doll. Ironically, while she was working on the episode, Doria called Meghan. Then the Duchess of Sussex said the spontaneous moment made her reflect on the way in which Doria, who lives close by in Los Angeles, has supported her throughout her life. She also joked that they still do a handshake she came up with when she was 8 years old, and said that being mother can be the most thankless unpaid labor there is. Moreover, in her new podcast episode, lavishes praise on her while painting a picture of Ragland as a burdened single mother who was solely responsible for her upbringing. She said that Doria took care of me in the house and herself. She was juggling so much. Wow, Meghan makes it sound like her mother was left alone to raise her. But it's well known that her estranged father was an involved parent who had her full-time as an adolescent. Anyone who has read about Meghan's childhood in Los Angeles might wonder about the idea that Ragland was on her own to raise the future TV actor who married Prince Harry. Meghan's statement in podcast is at odds with the many accounts showing that Meghan's father, Thomas Markle, was very much involved in co-parenting her. Thomas Markle and others say he footed the bill for her private school education and often was responsible for transporting her to and from school. Meghan also once talked fondly about how her father brought her with him to the studios after school, so she could do her homework while he finished. It's not surprising that Meghan would want to avoid any mention of Thomas Markle in the episode that dropped Tuesday. She famously cut off her contact with him after his scandalous last-minute exit from her 2018 royal wedding. In her podcast, Meghan gives no such credit to her father. Right now, Meghan doesn't want Thomas Markle anywhere near her public persona. After Meghan's new podcast episode was released, many criticized her for continuing her lies. In my previous video, I revealed how her uncle exposed Doria and Meghan, who flew with money after betraying Thomas, leaving him with a huge debt. Thomas even used money he won lottery to pay tuition at Meghan's private school. He then wound up filing for bankruptcy because of Doria's plot. But during this difficult period, Dorian decided to divorce her husband. Ungrateful Doria, to whom Thomas provided a comfortable life, left her husband with debts and criminal cases. The travel company that Thomas Markle opened for Doria with its own money was registered to him. He did not receive anything from it. Doria began to enjoy herself. She had a good income from a travel agency and received alimony for herself and her daughter. Doria and Meghan often went on foreign tours, spent holidays on the islands, visited expensive restaurants, whereas the unemployed Thomas was sent to forced dirty work so that he could pay alimony and benefits to the unemployed Doria.